YouTube family. It has been 5 months, 6 months since I've uploaded. 2026 has been pretty interesting. You know, a lot of eventful things have happened, not necessarily bad. I think it's been a lot of self-development. I guess you can say a lot of character development overall. You're probably wondering, you know, why I took a 6-month break. And it's kind of just because I've been figuring out a lot of stuff and I've came to the conclusion about a lot of stuff. My eyes have been opened a lot the last 6 months. So, you know what I mean? You got to sometimes take a step back and reflect and view how you want things to go. You know, obviously I'm still young. I still have a lot to figure out. You know, I figured out a lot about myself and about what I want for myself in the last 6 months. But the reason I have decided that, you know, I'm going to part ways with Ohio, which Ohio is my hometown. I've been in Ohio my whole entire 21 years, since November 9th of 2004. I don't know anything else but Ohio. The reason I decided to make that choice to leave and move, which I move here into September, is because, you know, I've always wanted more for myself. I've always been talking about moving. Like, this is not something that randomly happened. Like, I've been talking about this for the last 2.5 years. Like, I've been wanting to get out of my hometown. Like, that's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. But an event happened February of this year, and it lasted until April of this year. That really triggered it, and it like kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things about myself. Not many people know about this, but I was in a 2-month relationship with this girl. It didn't last, obviously. It was only 2 months, you know what I mean? I obviously before then was single for like 2 years. So, you know, this girl in particular brought out a lot in me. Obviously, I'm 21. She was 2 years younger than me. So you already know how that goes. Different maturity levels, different areas in life. I'm here, she's here, whatever the case is. I'm not really shitting on her because I don't hate this girl, but, you know, things happen for a reason. People come into your life for a reason. You know, they show you things. And in this short amount of time, you know, it had a big impact on me. So it just kind of altered my mind. You know what I mean? I would definitely say, you know, it kind of brought up a lot of things that I was suppressing internally that I didn't even know. I wasn't even aware. You know what I mean? It was pretty much good until it didn't last. Like, it was more of like a fun little thing. You know what I mean? Haven't felt this way about somebody in a long time. And it kind of just opened my eyes to things that I lack internally. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's community. You know, this girl was the first girl in 6 years of being myself, true authentic self, that I could relate to on that level. You know what I mean? A lot of girls in my past were being in and out. They weren't really secure with who they are. You know, I'm secure within my sexuality. I'm secure with who I am. And this was the first girl that was secure. I mean, fully lesbian. So, you know, experiencing that for the first time and then it abruptly leaves your life, it's just, it was just like, wow, like this is tough. Like, I was definitely really affected by it. But it also helped me to see, you know, what other wounds I was dealing with. Because it wasn't necessarily her leaving particularly. It was more of like, okay, why is that triggering me so bad? And then I was able to dig deep and figure out, okay, bingo, that's why it's triggering me. You know what I mean? So I'd say that is really what was the turning point. And it's like, you know, I've realized that it's very important to be around people that you can relate to. To be quite frankly honest with you, Ohio is a very small town. A lot of people here don't think outside the box. A lot of people here are not comfortable in their sexuality. They're not comfortable in who they are. They're not comfortable in their own skin. So dealing with that, it makes you think, okay, there's something wrong with me. It kind of makes you feel like you're the oddball because you're the only person that's secure in themselves. You're the only person that dreams big, thinks big, is delusional about their dreams, that's going after it every single day. So when you're constantly feeling different from everybody around you, you're gonna feel isolated, and that's just a genuine truth. I've felt isolated since I graduated high school, because in high school, you know, I was around a bunch of people. You know, I would never go back to high school, but one thing about high school I can say is I didn't feel this isolation. I didn't feel super different because I was on a basketball team, I had a lot of girls that I could relate to on that level. I had a lot of friends I could relate to on that level. But once you kind of get out of high school, especially with me not going to college, I was in college for not even a semester and I dropped out. So it's like I've dealt and seen a lot of isolation, and it's not fun. Nobody wants to be alone. It's good to be alone. I at least know how to be alone now. I know how to navigate that, and I understand that your alone time is super important, but at the end of the day, no person deserves to go through so much isolation. And you know what I mean? When you're in a town and when you're in a city that's so sheltering and it's not built for you, it makes you feel very, very bad about yourself. So April of this year was a terrible, terrible month. I've not felt that low in 5 years. And I've struggled with mental health. I don't really like to identify with that because I feel like the last 2 to 3 years, I've done a great job with keeping myself together, holding myself together, working through what I need to work through. But April 2026, I'm not even gonna lie, like I don't know how I made it through. It was a very, 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 very rough month. But, without that situation, would I have known that it's time to leave? You know what I mean? And you kind of just feel in your bones when it's time to leave a place. You just feel it. It's time. Like, I've been talking about moving out of my hometown since 2024, and it's like fast forward 2026, I'm about to be 22 years old. It's like, it's really time. I wake up every single day, I look around, I'm like, bro, I just feel like there's a fucking clutter in my brain, in my eyes. It's like, I love this place. This place has built me into the person I am today. I've graduated here. I've made tons of great connections, but you're not meant to stay in your hometown forever unless you're somebody that's willing to be average and you don't want to live the life I want to live. I don't know about y'all, but I want to be a millionaire, and I know I'll be a millionaire. I don't want to live the average 9-to-5 life. I want to be able to go book a trip on a random Monday, go on a boat, be on the boat by Tuesday. That's the type of life I want to live. I want to be able to protect and support my whole entire family. That's the life I want for myself. And I've probably met one person here that has that exact same mindset, maybe two. A lot of people don't. They're okay with going to college step by step by step by step. I'm not that person. I don't operate on that level. School was never for me. Why the fuck would I go to college? You know what I mean? I only did good in school because, I played basketball. I had to do good in school. I knew what it took to be on the basketball team, so I had to have good grades. But other than that, school was hell for me too. 504 plans, IUPs, taking Adderall every single day because they felt like I couldn't sit still. But in reality, people with ADHD and people who were in those programs were actually more advanced. But that's a topic for another time. But, just things of that nature. You know what I mean? And a town like Ohio, it's just meant for average people. Like I said, I'm not going to reveal where I'm moving, but the city that I'm moving to, it's a big city with opportunities, especially being a black woman in this world. And that's kind of where I've also opened my eyes to as well. Like, no shade, but Ohio, a black lesbian like me, it's not meant for people like us, you know what I mean? And that's a part of the isolation. That's a part of the feeling bad and feeling down and feeling trapped because I'm in an area that's not built for me, and that's just the genuine truth. So where I'm going, there'll be a lot more opportunities, a lot more community, because community is important. It's important to be around people who have the same sexuality as you. It's important to be around people who are in the same race as you. I'm all for all types of people. I love everybody, but it's important to have community, and I have not had community in quite some time, at least that I can relate to. I have a few friends down there where I'm moving to already, and I've had a few friends up north, you know what I mean, online friends, whatever, and you know what I mean. Other than that, it's it takes a toll on somebody, especially when you also, besides the identity part, when you have an entrepreneur mindset and you're in a small town, people don't understand you. They think you're crazy. They think you're losing your mind, when in reality, you just want so much for yourself. And it's like, people don't praise that. You tell somebody, I want to make $100,000 in a month, or I want to be a millionaire by 2 months from now, 3 months from now. They're going to call you delusional and tell you to shut the fuck up, because that isn't possible. They're going to tell you that, and they're going to belittle you because they can't see that for themselves. They can't fathom making so much money, when in reality it's possible. People are okay with making $6K a month. They're okay with that. They're okay with going to college, for 4 years and then being in debt. And then the money that they give you, the 10K they give you a month, $7,000 of that is going to your debt. So what are you really living for? Genuinely, what are you really living for? And I'm not shitting on people who go down that route. I just know that is not for me. Not for me. Somebody who has big dreams, thinks big, wants more for themselves, you have to put yourself out there. You have to go to a place where you're going to find people who think like that, and go to a bigger city where you put yourself out there more. So, you know, I kind of found a good balance. You know, at first, 2 years ago, it was like, I'm going to Miami. Miami's it. That's where I'm going. But it's like, I really sit back and think, and it's like, I'm glad I didn't do that, because that wasn't going to be the place for me. The place I'm going, I definitely think it'll be a good fit, at least for 1 to 2, 3 years, however many years, you know what I mean? I never know what God's plans are for me, but I genuinely just feel like I've been called to get the fuck out of here. You're gonna miss your family, you're gonna miss your friends, but at the end of the day, it's either miss your friends and family or miss your dreams. You gotta put yourself first. You gotta step outside the box. You gotta do what's gonna be best for you and benefit you, because you can always come and visit your friends. I'm only gonna be a flight away, 45-minute flight away. You know what I mean? You cannot pause your life. You cannot pause your goals. You cannot pause your dreams for other people. You know, we all have a purpose. Some people's purposes are very big. Some people's purposes are very small. Some people's purposes are long. Some people's purposes are short. You know what I mean? Not everybody is put on this earth for the same reason. And you know deep down what you are put here to do. It's your job to do it. A lot of people don't reach their full potential, and they don't reach their purpose because they're okay with staying in their hometown forever, raising their kids here, seeing the same people, same shit every single day. I hate going to the grocery store and seeing people from high school. The school happened, I moved on, you know, I'm on to better things. Like, I don't even talk to many people from high school, because it's like, you know, we're in 2 different spots. I'm here, you're here. It's like, I hate that I go out and I have to think about, okay, I'm gonna see somebody from the past, I'm gonna see somebody from high school. I don't want to do that, you know what I mean? It would be great to have a fresh start, things of that nature. But yeah, bottom line, I mean, it's really just been community, you know what I mean? It is isolating. It's hard not being like everybody else. I am very different, and I know that, and that's something that a lot of people couldn't handle. A lot of people are scared to be themselves. They're scared to, you know, be true to themselves because of what people think. And, you know, I have my days, I have my weeks where I care about what people think about me. I'm insecure to go out and, you know, present myself differently than the average woman would. You know, everybody has their insecurities, but at the end of the day, being true to myself and being authentic is the highest frequency that you could be on. I think that this is happening for the better. I have a great feeling about it, you know what I mean? Nerve-wracking, it'll be uncomfortable, you know what I mean? But the time is, it's here. Time is here. You know what I mean? I even changed my niche. My niche is completely different. You know, I've been doing this content for about 3 years now. I first started with like spirituality, relationship, stuff like that. But like now my brand is completely dedicated to lesbians, people in my community, people I can relate to. You know what I mean? How can I teach somebody about something I've never been through? Even more authentic, because I'm talking about things that I've experienced firsthand. And it's like, once I changed my niche, it's like something clicked, and it's like my content is doing phenomenal. All platforms. Instagram has blown up, you know. By the end of the year, we'll probably be at 10K followers. We will be at 10K followers, you know what I mean? Because the power of the tongue is very, very real. But 21, I'm single, I'm young, I don't have anything tying me down to this place. This is the perfect time to leave, you know what I mean? Have a good amount of money saved up, have a good head over my shoulders, you know. I definitely think I'm wiser for my years, so now's the perfect time. And there really is never going to be a perfect time, because, you know what I mean, have I known that I was going to make this move 10 months ago, a year ago, year and a half, I most definitely would have been preparing way more. But sometimes you have to just jump and do it, you know what I mean? So many opportunities are missing out on you when you don't make the decision to move, you know what I mean? How this situation with this girl had never happened, it would have never triggered a thought into me like, okay, maybe it's time to move. Maybe it's time to get your shit together. Maybe this place just really isn't serving you anymore. It just never would have, I would have never known. And I'd probably, you know, let's say me and her did work out, you know, still being with her, still doing this thing, not changing my niche, still living a little comfortably. You know, I've always been a hard worker. I still would have been a hard worker, but I still would be below my potential. So, you know, happened for a reason. And I'm very, very, very thankful that it happened, because a lot of soul searching has been done, a lot of dig deeping. I've been working through a lot of internal wounds from childhood that I didn't even know I had because of a certain situation. God will bring people, throw things at you to wake you up. You know what I mean? This is what it took for me to make that move and say, you know what, it's time to leave my hometown, let's go. So my message to you guys is really to jump, take the leap of faith, do it. You know what I mean? You think that you're making the right move by taking step by step by step to prepare yourself, but sometimes you just need to make that move so you can just shoot up. You know what I mean? So get uncomfortable. You know, you never know what opportunities, what people, what places, what networking, any of those things, what will find you when you do that. And I know a lot of you guys are so used to seeing like vlogs and stuff on my channel, but like with me changing my niche too, it's like that stuff, that type of content also doesn't really align with me anymore. You know, I'm not gonna say I won't go do a vlog here and there, but I was doing it pretty much a couple times a month. But it's like with me changing my niche, changing my brand, shifting my mindset, it's like it hasn't really resonated with me now. So that's also a big factor in why I've decided to take a little break from YouTube, reflect, and figure out. But yeah, to my loyal subscribers, I will be back posting. I will continue to do what I'm doing. Just know content might be different. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. You know what I mean? And I've definitely have had a positive impact on people with changing my niche. And then there's people that probably look at my videos and are like, what the fuck is she doing? I'm unfollowing her. You know, I miss the old shit, you know what I mean? And that's fine. People are gonna fall off naturally when you change, when you grow, when you evolve, you know what I mean? 2 years ago, if I were to look at myself now and be like, oh, this is the route you're going, I'd probably be very fucking confused and laughing at myself, just because I never thought that I'd have the courage to sit here and discuss these types of topics, you know what I mean? I was always the type of person where it's like, you know, if I change my niche, if I change my content to my identity and who I am, people are gonna think that's my whole personality. But that's not the case. This is a big part of who I am, and that's a lot of the insecurity that I've had. I was so scared to do that because of what people will think about me. People saying this is my whole personality, whatever. It's a big part of my life. It's a big part of my life. I'm going through all these things so I can help people who have the same experience as me, you know? And I've just got to the point now where I don't give a shit. Who cares what people have to say about me? Authenticity is the highest frequency you can be on. Move out of your hometown, because your hometown is keeping you stuck. It's keeping you cluttered. These people don't want to see you win. These people have so much to say about you. An innocent person who just wants to do better for themselves. It makes them scared and it confuses them because they know they can't do it for themselves. So I challenge you, if you are on a similar path in life than me, or you're trying to build your brand, you're trying to do better for yourself, you want to be around people more like you and who you can relate to, get the fuck out of your hometown. Do some research and figure out places that will align with you mostly. You know what I mean? You can always move back. You can always go to another place. It's not the end of the world, but you know, you kind of know in your soul when it's time to leave, and that's just kind of been the situation for me. Start a new page, you know what I mean? Start posting what you want to post, or even use your personal page. Unfollow every single person from your hometown and just start posting and doing what you need to do and put yourself out there. You shouldn't give a fuck what these people have to say about you. You know what I mean? They went to high school with you. It's over. It's done. You don't have to see them again. Block them. Do what you need to do, but don't put yourself on pause. Don't stop being your authentic self because of somebody else, because somebody else might not like it. Your hometown people might hate what you're doing. I'd rather be hated in my hometown and be loved everywhere else. It matters so much more as an influencer, as a content creator, what people around the world think about you than stupid, small-minded people from your hometown, what they have to say about you. Simple. Prove them wrong. Be you. Do your thing. And I promise you, you're gonna win. You're gonna be rewarded as long as you're being your true authentic self. Because like I said, and I will continue to stand on that, authenticity is the highest frequency. But I appreciate the support, and to all of you that have been with me, have stayed with me through this niche change, through this rebrand, through this big absurd 2026 events, I appreciate you. See you at the top, and stay tuned for more, because it's only going to get better. I'm going to continue to be my authentic self. I'm going to continue to say what I want to say, do what I want to do. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, goodbye. Thank you.